India should have been a creator, not a copycat. We are the manufacturers of luxury. We are the craftsmen behind the luxury houses, which are globally recognized. Yet, when you think about buying a luxury item, it is never an Indian brand which comes to mind. And I'm not saying we do not have luxury houses from India. I'm just saying we do not have enough representation for the amount of contribution we are making. When I was living abroad and I was making surplus money and I was making enough where I could think about luxuries, the one thing which always came to my mind is, why is there no Indian brand which I can buy from here? Whenever you walk down the street, you'll see all these luxury houses lined up and you'll never see an Indian brand. And if you talk to enough people, you'll realize no one's actually thinking about buying an Indian brand for a board meeting. They're never thinking, you know what, I'll wear a piece from India because I have this speech coming up and it's a show of power, but it's a show of restraint. That is never a conversation. For Asfaan, our vision was we need to close the gap of restraint. Where a person who wants to go for a board meeting tomorrow is going shopping and thinking, you know what, I want to wear an Asfaan shirt. I want to wear the heritage which comes from the craftsmanship behind a white plain shirt. It can be as simple as that. Yet, it has to come from India. And that is where the gap lies. We do not have an Indian brand which is globally accepted for anything apart from a special occasion. And that bothers me because living abroad, this was something we used to talk about even with the people around me, and they never usually thought of India as a pioneer for luxury. They always thought of India as loud or food. This is what the conversation about India is. Or even cheap alternatives for expensive items. When you think about anything in India which has to be started in the form of business, people no longer are thinking about houses or representation. They are thinking about, I will do a business where I will produce the highest value item, let's say a Calvin Klein shirt, at 300 rupees, and then I'll sell it at a 200 rupee markup and then make margins there. And it is about smartness there. It is about showing that, you know what, this is what smartness is. This is what a businessman is. He'll buy it at a cheap price, or he'll try to create a master copy of something. And that is what India is becoming all about now. It is becoming an imitation game. I do not know why we are trying to imitate global brands. And when I say a house has a value system which it stands for. It is not going for mass media. It is not targeting everyone. The goal is pretty simple. We want to create a niche luxury Indian brand which draws from the craftsmanship which India has to offer, but it is not loud in the most Indian way, where it is obvious that a country is trying to be represented from a brand. That is not what we are trying to do. We want to take an Indian brand which other brands like Zara are imitating from. But the imitation always happens from brands in the West. It never happens from an Indian brand which moved to the West. And that is the gap we are trying to close. Now, when I make this claim, I'm not trying to say I'm a designer, I'm massive, nothing like that. I've just started. But the vision is that I want that shift to occur. Because it is not about doing good business, it is about creating representation. And when such a big vision is put out there, so many people tell you that do not work. I'm just trying to say, I am here, I'm trying to bring this vision to reality, and the transformation can only happen through fragrance. In the beginning, we start off with fragrance because that is the change you notice. Because it is still restrained, it is not loud. Whenever you see a person pick up a new fragrance while they still dress the same, you can still tell there's been some change in this person. They have taken initiative in a new direction. And when they walk by you, you're like, something different has occurred. And that is the vision of the house. The house of becoming is what we want to be represented as. That is what Asfaan stands for. And that is what we are trying to do. Obviously, you cannot start off with being super niche in the beginning because you're still working with minimal resources. But the vision for the brand is clear. And what you want to do once you've started making enough, where you have the resources to bring in more craftsmen comes in, that is when you will see that transformation happen. And that has to be represented abroad. Because if it is only targeted for India, it is not made its mark. The brand has to have a global vision and it has to move abroad. I would have started in the UK itself. When I was living in London, that was an option which I was considering. But then I realized I do not have enough connection with our people for me to understand what exactly I have to take abroad. So first, I need to be able to build it here, then move abroad. And that is why we are putting this vision out there. And I know there will be a lot of criticism for this, but again, what is there for me to lose? I'm the first businessman from my family. I have a vision. I see things differently. I don't want to be smart about the way I'm doing business. I just want to have a representation, and I want to do it the right way. And it can only come through giving value rather than taking away value of items or identity of a brand and replicating it at a cheaper rate. That is not what we are going to do.